We're going to be doing just like we did all season last season. We're going to be going through game by game, line by line. We're going to be talking about them. Brad and I are going to be unveiling a new show called Pick Six, where we take our favorite 6 bets. So basically, the idea was last year, Brad and I were so good when we actually put our heads together and picked a game. So when Brad and I agreed on games, we basically were pretty lights out. So we're going to take our 6 favorite games and put that into a podcast and just talk about them towards the end of the week. It's primarily going to be a YouTube show, but we are going to simulcast it here. So make sure you subscribe to both. It's really cool. And if you're listening to this on YouTube, subscribe. If you're not subscribing, on YouTube or whatever, do so. And you can also follow me on Twitter. I'm at TFS_Sean. Brad, let me get into this. Before we get on, I know we did our last week on our show, we did the the odds to win the Super Bowls and all that. I was looking at Bovada Sportsbook.com has the Patriots as the steady favorites to win the Super Bowl, and I know the Chiefs are next. Do you think the Chiefs should be higher than the Patriots? Do you think it has to be the Patriots at this point?
I think talent-wise, in any other circumstance, you would have to say Chiefs. But when you have a team like New England where it doesn't really matter their talent level, they could have holes in the roster and not be as good as other teams talent-wise and still be better. But better prepared, more sound, play to their strengths better than anyone does. Things of that nature will always leave them being the favorites, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think that's completely fair.
Think about it. Has San Diego ever been less talented than them for the past
considering
10 years?
Well, considering San Diego doesn't have a team anymore, I don't think they've ever had less talent.
I've been doing
every week you do that.
Every week I do it.
Now, you know what?
The day I die.
I know you will. I know you. People still call the Cardinals the St. Louis Cardinals, right? No, I was doing that all season last season too, and I finally, for some reason, I shook myself of it this year. Every time you say it, it resonates with me. But if you listen to any podcast going back to probably the Super Bowl, I probably was calling them the San Diego Chargers. It's just hard. It's a tough one to break. But
you know what? I'm gonna keep calling them that because I have faith that they're gonna come back there. It's when Andrew Luck comes back in 2 years, the Chargers will go right back to San Diego.
I'm with it, man. I'm with that. Man, let's just get right into this, man. Let's dig in. We got on Thursday night. Usually I take Thursday games off my board entirely, and I take London games off my board. But this is a special circumstance because it's a season opener, so I don't have to take them off my board. Bovada has Green Bay +3 at Chicago. How you feeling on this one?
People are going to think I'm a bit of a homer this year, only because I am high on Green Bay. I think that they're going to come back and be better than they have been in a while, actually. And, the listeners aren't going to know that that's typically not my way. That's not my nature.
Oh, no, you are very pessimistic. You really are.
I'm extremely pessimistic. So right now I'm going to say I like it. I think that anytime the Packers may be an underdog this year, it'd be a smart choice to take them. And I feel that way for this game. What about you?
Yeah, it's funny. So you mentioned how pessimistic you usually are with Green Bay, and when I was still like a diehard Redskins fan, we did enjoy some Sunday ticket days, right, in at your apartment or your condo back then. And it was funny whenever the Redskins would play the Packers because we would just be sitting there. Both of us would be miserable on the couch, and we'd just be sitting there with our arms folded. And then something good would happen for the Packers. You'd be like, oh, they're going to blow it. And then something good would happen for the Redskins, and then you'd be like, damn it, I knew it. And then I'd say, don't worry, Washington's going to blow it. And it's really like both of us were just the most pessimistic things. But
always. It's a way of protecting ourselves.
I guess, right? It's guarding your feelings. It's like, the preemptive breakup, right?
Yeah.
No, so... I like the Packers this season. 3 points. I actually think they're going to win the game. A lot of people are on Chicago this year, and look, they did a lot better than we thought they were going to do last year. Nagy did a fantastic job. They have a new running back. They got rid of Jordan Howard. They have David Montgomery in there. A lot of people are high on him. We haven't seen a lot of the starting unit from the Bears, and we haven't seen it from the Packers. The difference is I think the Packers have a team that, look, they have Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is going to be fine, right?
Yeah. Right.
Trubisky, I think, needs the reps a little bit, so I was surprised to see him not play as much. I think yeah, go ahead.
Sean, I think the reason for the Bears and being a 3-point favorite, further from them being at home, which automatically gives you 3 points. I think that, with a new offense, the offense may take a little bit longer in Green Bay to kind of click.
That is true.
I could see them coming out and stalling a little bit, whereas the Bears defense, I mean, it doesn't take a lot for a defense to click. Like, if they're good and there's talent, then Khalil Mack is just going to wreak havoc, right? So maybe that would be the one cause for the Packers not covering. But I do think that they will persevere for sure.
Yeah, and if I look at it, let me pull up my fantasy football stuff here. If I'm looking at it from just pure like daily fantasy, where's the value at this week? I have basically Trubisky actually from a fantasy quarterback point of view. I think Trubisky's actually going to have more points. I think he'll get more in the rushing yards. But back to the game analysis, by the way, I just think that the loss of Fangio at defensive coordinator and replacing him with what's his face, the old Indianapolis head coach, Pagano, Chuck Pagano. I think that's going to be a bigger loss than people are thinking. I think everybody thinks that this same defense is going to return. It's hard. We saw it with Jacksonville last year, man. It's hard for top dog to stay on top.
It's not seamless. I agree. It's just not so easy to happen.
Yep. At running backs, I think Aaron Jones, I think this year is going to be really good. It's going to take the first really couple of weeks for everything to calibrate with these new offenses. And I think that because a lot of starters throughout the whole NFL, not just the Packers and Bears, did not play in the preseason, I think we're going to see a lot of slop. I think we're going to see a lot of lower scoring games the first couple of weeks, drop passes, missed tackles, all these kinds of things, So I think we're going to see some sloppy football, maybe some penalties, a lot in the first week or so, and then things will start to settle in. But Aaron Jones, I like him. I don't have him projected super high this week, but I do think that he's a guy that's probably likely to beat my my projection because a lot of this stuff is predicated on last year's performance along with new offensive scheme. But they're also playing the Bears defense, so it's going to be tough. I think out of the running backs, Terry Cohen is probably the best one for Chicago. Wide receivers, I like Devontae Adams. You got to like Devontae Adams.
Got to like Devontae Adams.
What is your take there? It looks like Valdez-Scantling got is really going to be that second receiver over Geronimo Allison. Is that kind of your take as well, Brad?
I really like Geronimo Allison, man. I think he's a gamer. There's just something about him. He makes big plays when you need it. And I was actually surprised that he's not the number 2. And if he's not, maybe it changes. I mean, maybe there's an injury or something to Geronimo. I'm not sure, but I'm high on him, super high.
And it's one of those things, too, where this day and age, it doesn't really matter if you're a 2 or a 3. Like Valdez-Scantling, maybe he's just better on the split, and maybe Allison is just a better in the slot. And
maybe that's it. Or maybe just the way the offense is configured, they're just doing that for matchup purposes, right? Because,
exactly.
Yeah, that could be it. They want certain defenders on Valdez at certain times, so that's why they're going to do it. Who knows? But you are correct.
Yep. I think all 3 receivers, I have them all projected at 15s this week. I think the receivers for Chicago are going to struggle just a little bit against the Packers defense. I think the Packers defense is going to be improved in the secondary as well. And then if I look at the tight ends, I think Burton is going to be better at about a 7.5, assuming he plays. He's been questionable for a little while, but I think he'll be back. So there you go. There's a quick. So Brad and I are both on Green Bay this week.